I'm going to be talking a little bit about friendship and friendships among women, to be exact. Um, I don't know so much about the male species and friendships, so I'll stick to the female side of it, um, and some of the struggles that I have been walking through. And I'm probably going to throw up a few little things that I've learned through it all, right? I'm going to read a quote here. In the in the digital age in which we find ourselves, many of us are caught up in the hype or deception of connecting online. There is some connection, but no intimacy is taking place. And boy, did I learn that. And even through this whole pandemic, um, that rang through. Let me tell you, it rang through. And the reason why I say that is because prior to the pandemic, about 2 years ago, we were meeting up and having breakfast and conversation, and it was jumping. It was awesome. You know, it kind of dwindled, numbers dwindled, ebb and flow, you know, back and forth. But, you know, if it's two or three of us, we were having an amazing time. And here come this bee again. And, you know, the pandemic hit, and I thought, okay, so now we have to be more intentional. We have to be, now go online. You know, I tried getting people to do videos, and, you know, I did a breakfast, a virtual breakfast. That turned out great, you know. But then after that, that was like a Christmas time. Last Christmas we had that. It just dwindled and it just became very silent. And I, for the life of me, couldn't understand it. You know, I have a Bible study that I joined last fall when I just moved to Hamilton. I've met the people face to face yet, but already it's no more. They closed it. They're not having the group anymore. So that, you know, that brings a little bit of a challenge for me because I'm in a new city. Because trust me, Hamilton is a city. Um, you know, I moved from Mississauga, Toronto, Mississauga area, and I'm now in Hamilton, which is a little bit west of Toronto, right? It's west of almost, you know. But anyway, I don't know anybody up here, but I was willing to reach out and, you know, hang out with them on Zoom, and it was going great. But I think, you know, at times people just get tired and, you know, life goes on. But as much as life went on for them, life kind of took a little breaks from me. It's like, what is happening in my life? But you know what? I realized that something one of my grandkids said to my 9-year-old grandkid said to me, you know, that he learned watching another TV pastor. And he said to me, you know, Grandma, you know what I learned? He said, you know, when something doesn't work out the way we want it, it means that God has a better plan. God has something better for us. Who knew? Who knew? The very day I found this out, a couple of hours later, this little 9-year-old is talking to me, and God is using him to say to me, listen, life goes on. I got something that you can't see yet. Keep moving. The reason why I keep moving, the reason why I tell you I keep coming here is because I feel the need to keep moving, right? There are days when I don't want to move. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to come here, you know, because I feel like I don't have anything to say today. I don't, you know, or, you know, whatever comes to mind, right? But I said to myself, you got to go, right? You got to go. And the little reminders and the little nudges that come alongside that the Holy Spirit sends or God sends, you know, to when I'm watching something, I'm watching what I'm watching, and then an Oprah video pops up and it's talking about friendship, right? So here we are, you know, the digital friendships. These are I'm gonna go through a bunch of things. Hopefully I'm gonna go really fast so we're not here long. Hi Colleen. Hi music lover Morgan. Good morning, good morning. The digital friendship. More fans and followers than true friends who know us fully, right? So you digital. We're here on Facebook, we're here on Instagram. We have followers, you know, hundreds of followers, some people thousands, some people millions, but there's no connection really, right? It's very what am I shallow, very shallow, very shallow. No, nothing deep, right? You know, I can unfriend you in a moment, or you can unfriend me, or you can unfollow. You know, it goes like that, right? Instead, we get pictures of the best things. Guilty, you know. I give you a story. I was revealing my potatoes the other day, and I opened 2 buckets, and I only got like 6 potatoes. And I decided I can't share that. I have to share it if it's more. And so, I mean, I just put it there. I didn't, you know what I mean? So we always put our best out here. With me, you will hear my woes. Here on a Saturday morning when I'm on live, you will hear my woes as well as you will hear the good stuff. You'll hear the great stuff. You see my garden when it's in like whatever, and you will see it when it's smashing down now, right? So, transactional friendship. That's another friendship. I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back. No shared burdens. You know, how can they help? You know, nobody's saying, how can I help you, right? It's kind of like, okay, if you don't do for me, I can't do for you. Bye. They go silent. One-dimensional friendship. We cheer for the same team, belong to the same club, financial status, and all of that. Also known as cliques, right? And that's another thing that you know, and also, I think you can add in there just church, right? Like if we all go to the same church, we go to the same prayer meeting, we go to the same Bible study, we see everybody every time we go, right? We tend to have some sort of connection. But when you separate yourself, when you move, or when you transition to somewhere else, the relationship just like deflates. That's like, it just kind of like all the air goes out of it, right? And what you thought you had, now you don't. And so, you know, it can leave you in a place of, you know, it can be very traumatic for some people. And so, you know, I've had my share that you've heard here before. And if not, maybe down the line I'll share some of it. But how can we now move on from that, right? How can we forge relationships? We have to take the risk, right? We have to take the risk. Hi, Ina. We have to take the risk. It's a risk, ladies. Trust me when I tell you it's a risk, right? I took a risk, a big risk, a few years back. So I was involved in a Bible study group online on Facebook. I think it was like Hello Mornings. And the 2 group leaders, Melissa, and I can't remember the other young lady's name. But anyway, I found out that Melissa lives in Massachusetts. And so I happened to visit Massachusetts, you know, pretty frequently. And so one year, a few years back, I decided, you know what, I'm going to connect with her and see if she wants to have a meetup. And I did. With fear and trembling, I did. But I didn't just, you know, I prayed. I said, God, you're my protector. You're my guide. Help me. Even though I was nervous, I did it anyway, right? Because number one, she's a believer. Number two, you know, her profile on Facebook and all that. I know it could be a fake, but it wasn't, right? We were in a Bible study group, so I felt like, okay, I've never seen her even online. I've never had like the online thing. We weren't doing Zoom then. But I took the risk and I went up to meet her in this place called Salem. Now, Salem is a place where they say, rumor has it, that it was a town of witches. It's known for that, for witching. And when you go there, you'll see why. Don't go there in October. No. So I love this quote. I mean, any of you ever watch Anne of Green Gables? Say something about Anne of Green Gables in here, because I used to love that show, right? And Anne said one day, I've dreamed of meeting her all my life. A bosom friend, an intimate friend, a really kindred spirit to whom I can confide my innermost soul. And if you watch Anne of Green Gables, you can remember, watching her. She had an old soul. This little girl, this actress. She did that so well, and so she had this old kind of soul, right? And this child was an orphan, right? So she longed for that belonging, that friendship. And I can jump in the Bible real quick in the Old Testament and share Dinah. I think that's how Dinah felt. Say something to me, guys. Say something. If you've ever read about in Genesis about Dinah, you can Jacob's only daughter. Yeah, you read there. You can tell, you can tell that she wanted something. She was looking for something. Now, theologians have it as she's looking for makeup and all of that. Women are always looking for connection, relationships, right? And so I will go over here on the relationship side. Makeup is, whatever it is, but I think that it's a soul thing. It's a heart thing. It's a, I need somebody that I can relate to thing, right? So that's what Anne of Green Gables said. Excuse me. So I'm going to jump back into meeting my friend Melissa, my Facebook friend Melissa. So give me a second. A lot of papers here. So I said to her, I asked some questions, right? I asked some questions of her. And this was her response, right? Her response was, I said, what were your feelings about meeting me? Were there apprehensions? Did you, how did you feel about it? And she said, I was nervous. I was nervous that you would not show up. I have been in a number of online Christian Facebook groups at various times, but never had anyone that close to me. You were the second person from an online group that I met. And it's so funny. I had the same fears. I thought, I'm going to take this train and go to this town called Salem that I've never been before. And what if this woman doesn't show up? That was my fear. It wasn't like, I waited and she showed up. And we went to lunch. And, how did it feel having lunch with somebody you just met? And her response was, I like chatting and meeting new people, so lunch was good. Fellowship over a meal is a good way to get to know somebody. And that's the thing I want to get to about the meetup. The thing with being here on Facebook and all that, we can say hello if we go on Zoom, whatever. But there's something else. Something happens when two people or three people, whatever, we get together and we have a conversation, we have a meal, we have a coffee, and we tend to relax when we're eating, number one. And there's this sense of where I was nervous, I was a nervous wreck. I calmed all the way down, and we just started talking. We just started sharing, you know. And lunch was great. We went for a walk. She had to go back to work. And I went back to the station. I walked around town for a little bit. And then I went back to the station and went home. And I felt very good. I felt like God was in it. I feel like, He supported me in it. He protected me. He guided me. Right? And so I didn't feel any sense. I walked away feeling a sense of joy and fulfillment. Right? So, in essence, sometimes I think it's okay to take that risk and be vulnerable. Vulnerability is a risk as well. I am convinced that the shortest distance between strangers and friends is a shared story about our broken places. We must be willing to be unfine. I have to be willing to take the risk and move from before the computer screens, right? So this is a quote that I read. We have to be willing to be unfine, right? It's okay. Just say, you know what? I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyhow, right? So that was my little thing, right? I think that so I did a little Facebook question, and I said, what are the ingredients of a good, solid, long-lasting friendship? And someone said, trust, honesty, loyalty, transparency, laughter, and unconditional love. And with unconditional acceptance there as well, right? Someone says effort. Put the effort in. The burning desire. Someone said the burning desire to make things work and see the other parties prosper beyond their wildest dreams. Now, I like that. That was from Dimitri Boya. And if you know, Dimitri is a man of many words, very eloquent. I love that. I'm going to read it again. The burning desire to make things work and see the other party prosper beyond their wildest dream. That's what we should want for our friend, right? And I hear this all the time. Oprah has shared that openly pretty much every time the subject comes up, is that, your friend should be willing, right, to want the best for you, right? And not be envious of you, right? Be there. Be, want me to succeed. I want you to succeed. I want you to be the best, right? You want me to be the best. It goes both ways, right? I'm not saying that you have to do it for me, but I'm saying it make life easier, right? It is not a give and take. It's not, but I think you have to think about, you will not. I think that if it's correct and if it's healthy, if it's a healthy friendship, and I am pouring and I am supporting and I'm pushing you, then you are doing that. It comes back natural. It's a natural thing. When you get it, you want to give it, right? Another person says, being intentional. Yes? Being intentional. Remember I said about when you move or when you're transitioning? Now, what used to be easy, and it was there, they were there, we meet up every Sunday, we see each other every Wednesday, we see each other every Friday, and every event. Now, I'm in a different city. So now we have to be intentional about meeting up. We have to be intentional about that phone call. We have to be intentional about that text when we don't have time. It's just hey, how you doing? Hope all is well. How's the family? Right? So it's keeping it going. There's this dead silence that I hate. Okay? I'll tell you right now. That's one of my struggles. I hate that dead silence. It's I don't like it. Some people can handle it. I can't. Someone else said honesty, transparency, consideration, hugs and kisses. Now I know this Maria, she's Spanish. And she was in Spain saying that. Because when she lived in Canada, I'm telling you, when you met her she met you with a hug. And she would kiss you on your cheek. So I know where she's coming from with that one. And someone says unconditional love and the ability to forgive quickly. Woo! That's a biggie, right? But as I said before, if it's a healthy friendship, then forgiveness it comes, right? It comes. That's my belief, right? If you have a healthy relationship, friendship, then if something is said, right, then I can say to you, where'd that come from? And they would explain themselves and said, oh, okay, no problem. You know what I mean? We can move on. Or it can go deeper, where something is said and it can be said out of pain, out of frustration, out of anger, and yes, out of the heart. The mouth speaks. Now, why am I having when you're doing a live outdoors, you're gonna have all kinds of things. I have a ladybug come to visit, same color as my sweater. Look at that. Anyway, sorry guys, but yes, the ability to forgive quickly, because you know the person. We can have those kind of conversation, right? So Proverbs 15:4 says, a wholesome tongue is a tree of life. Kind words and help. Kind words heal and help. Cutting words wound and maim. That's a message translation. Paraphrase, right? The voice says, a word of encouragement heals the one who receives it, but a deceitful word breaks the spirit, right? So going back to that forgiveness, we have to know where that, whatever that thing that happened, that now we have to move into forgiveness quickly, we have to know where that is coming from, right? And because we are in relationship and we know the other person, we know each other, right? We have that going. We can quickly forgive and move forward, right? Proverbs 16:24. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Yes? Health to the bones. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens and influences another through discussion. I like that. That's the Amplified Translation. The voice said, in the same way that iron sharpens iron, a person sharpens the character of his friend. I love that one. I love that. I love that, right? So, it's all about building, right? As we talk about, how do you get to all of this that I just shared in this question? What are the ingredients of a good friendship, good long-lasting friendship? How do you get there, right? It's a journey. It's a challenging journey, right? We live in the real world, okay? It's a challenging journey. But if we put in the effort, if we are trusting, someone and the trust is amicable, if we are loyal, if we're transparent or vulnerable, we can't have a friendship built on my side. I'm always the one vulnerable. I'm always the one sharing. I'm always the one, you know. So it's like you're just listening, and we don't know anything about you. It's been 6 months, it's been a year, and I don't even know where you live. You know where I live, right? You know pretty much everything about me, my family, you know. So then that is not a friendship. That's an acquaintance. That's a long over there acquaintance, right? But when you're building friendships, you're being vulnerable, you're being transparent, right? Um, you're desiring to bring something to the table to help that friend come up a notch, right? And vice versa, right? Um, Unconditional acceptance and love, right? So there are things you might not like about that person. You don't like their hair, you don't like their glasses, you don't like the colors they wear. That's just superficial, right? Character is what you're looking for, right? Are they honest? Do they speak truth? Are we having conversations about other people? Then that's not good. That's toxic. That's not good, right? So yeah, I'm gonna stop there, and I'll probably pick it up again next week. But lovely to see you here. Let me see if I miss anything. So the iron sharpening iron, I that's one of my favorite scripture as it pertains to friendship relationships. Um, but I love the voice translation that says, in the same way that iron sharpens iron, a person sharpens the character of his or her friend, right? So we want to be able to build, right? And this is how we're building, right? We're building trust. We're being vulnerable, right? We're passing our insecurities, right? um our fears, and we're moving forward, right? And we're believing, and as a believer, I have to believe that and trust God to help me make these decisions, right? I'm not gonna do it on, just go and jump everywhere and do whatever. Like when I went to meet this lady, I prayed about it, and I felt okay about it. I was a little bit afraid, just like if I'm coming here to speak or I'm going somewhere to speak. When I've gone to speak in churches, I'm a nervous wreck until I'm standing there and I'm speaking, and it's all good, you know. So we are building, and so next time I'm gonna continue and talk about how I find, oh, like I shared with you earlier, the struggle is real, right? It's real. There are certain things I don't like. It's very difficult for me, and I'll share more about that. But suffice to say, yes, I am vulnerable. Yes, you can trust me. I'm a very good listener, and all of that. But does that always come back? So we'll share that next time. Um, so we want to take the risk. We want to take the risk, trusting God. We're going to take the risk, and we're going to be vulnerable, right? And see what happens, because you're not going to know until you try, right? Faith without works is dead, being alone, right? So, I see your faith by what you're doing, right? You can't just tell me that you have faith, but you don't do anything to show me your faith, right? So it's the same as risk, right? Show me that you're willing to risk by stepping out and being vulnerable, and see what happens. I'm not saying being vulnerable the first time. Vulnerability is, yes, sharing your story and all of that, but being vulnerable to step past where you're scared, afraid, and meeting that person and having a conversation, see where that goes, right? So, that being said, um, I am going to go, and this ladybug is just all over my tablet here. Um, Lovely to see you all here today. Um, Music Lover Morgan, Colleen, Vicky, Ina, and all those that popped by. I know there was an issue with Instagram. It just went out and came in. I'm not sure why. But I'll see you next week, Lord willing. Have a blessed weekend. It's a beautiful day. Go for a walk, do something outside because it's a nice cool day. Thank you for coming, Ina. Awesome. You're there with your grandkids. Awesome. Take care. God bless. And have a blessed Sunday, however you do it, at home or in person. Stay safe. Do what you need to do. Keep the faith. We're in this together. Blessings.